You know, when I put the leg on, I need a little bit more impulsion. And I'm not too hard on him here, but I also want him to take it a little bit seriously. Almost kind of not jump into it, but there needs to be a drive there. Something needs to change, something needs to happen. Hey guys, a couple years ago I did a video on lead changes addressing the importance of getting a horse responsive to the leg without running off. And today I'm going to be talking about an opposite yet equally important issue, and that is a horse that wants to kind of suck back and slow down when pressure is applied instead of driving up and through himself into the lead change. So a lot of people think in the lead change that it's just about getting the hip to swing over in the direction we're asking it to go. But not only does that horse need to move over laterally, he needs to really drive up and through himself to have a successful lead change. I found this to be a pretty common issue, especially on some of these reining bred horses that I've worked with. They might move off the leg in the direction I'm asking them to go, but whenever they feel that pressure, they want to kind of clamp up and slow down a little bit, suck back, and they don't really drive through themselves. So I'm going to try to show you guys what that looks like today, as well as how I'm going to address it on this horse. He's pretty green on the lead changes. We just started working on them. Some days it comes out and does it great, and other days then I really have to work on this issue. So let's get to it. Hey guys, I just want to take a quick moment to apologize for my inconsistent publishing schedule. I know I've been so in and out lately. As you can see, I'm very pregnant in this video. I'm actually about 7.5 months right now, and it's been a little bit difficult. The reason I haven't been really doing videos is because in my mind, I'm like, no one's going to take you seriously right now. And that's probably because I don't take myself seriously. I'm really struggling with the body image. I'm kind of self-conscious on camera right now. I don't feel like myself a lot of the time. And so I'm probably just projecting some of that. Anyway, I had this horse at the right spot and I was like, I really need to shoot this video. So I decided to get out here and just shoot it anyway, regardless. And I want to apologize for being gross and sweating. All I can say is pregnancy has been really weird. So if you guys can bear with me, I really appreciate you sticking around and watching. So let's get into the video. All right, so first things first, I'm just going to warm this horse up like I normally would. I'm going to trot him around here a little bit, just make sure that he's clearing the shoulder, nothing's falling in. I won't go into a whole lead change session or anything. We've just got a couple things that we want to work on so I can show you, target this particular issue in this video. But to be fair to the horse, I'm just going to make sure that he's set up and ready to do his lead changes. There we go. Make sure he's soft in the rib cage. Make sure I can push that shoulder over, get it out of the way. Everything looks really good there. And you can already see he's kind of a little bit lazier today. And I can tell that when I put that leg back there, he's potentially going to slow down. So I'm going to apply my left leg right now and ask the hip to step over. And he actually maintained speed. There was no slowdown right there, which I'm really happy about. Good job. I'll go ahead and do it again. And right there, you saw him slow down. So I'm just going to kind of bump this horse up, jazz him up just a little bit, and ask him to step up and through himself. There we go. Anytime I feel that where they kind of slow down to suck back, I realize what a big hole that's going to be in the lead change. So you want to address it at the slower speeds too. Everything we do, we want to start at the slower speeds to make sure there's no holes there. There's been so many times in the past where I've been working on an issue and I'm like, this just is not coming together for me, and I could not target what it was or what was happening. And then if you go back and look, step up. There we go, there. Now I got a little bit more impulsion when I pushed him up there. Where if I'd go back and look at what was really going on, I realized I had a lot of holes at the slower speeds too. So you want to eliminate these at the slower speeds. There we go. Make sure your horse is comfortable. Make sure he's confident driving through himself and he doesn't have any issue with being self-motivated. You saw him slow down there. I'm just going to push him up. There, ask the hip to step over and then leave him alone. Good boy. So I want to be able to just kind of lay my leg back there and not feel any suck back. And even anytime I do, I'm just going to jazz him up just a little bit, ask him to drive through himself, say no. You know, when I put the leg on, I need a little bit more impulsion. And I'm not too hard on him here, but I also want him to take it a little bit seriously, almost kind of not jump into it, but there needs to be a drive there. Something needs to change. Something needs to happen. One more time. Found a little suck back. There we go. Good job. And I'm going to do this until when I put my leg back there, not only does he maintain speed, but he doesn't raise his head up and brace against me. So if you're laying your leg back there and that horse speeds up, but he also does this, that's another hole you're going to have. So you want to watch out for that, okay? They need to be driving, they need to be moving forward, they need to be self-motivated, have that impulsion there, but also not doing this number right here, because if you get into the lobe or you get him stretched out and you have that extended lobe going on and you're running down there and you ask him to change leads, and you put your leg back there and they do this number, what's going to happen? That's going to block that shoulder. So anytime you have stiffness and a lack of relaxation in the body, you're going to run into other issues. So again, this is something you can easily work on at a slower speed to help eliminate some of those holes you might have at a lope. There we go. That's really beautiful. Good job. All right, so once I have him loping around here relaxed, and he's going well, he's really nice and soft. Once again, I'm going to kind of push that shoulder around, make sure I can clear the shoulder here, and that he's soft in the rib cage and not bracing against my leg on the inside. I'll come around here, and I'll just lay the right leg back there, ask him to step up and through himself, and that was really, really nice. There was no slowdown, there was no lockup. He didn't suck back and try and readjust himself in order to make the move. He just stepped right over. There it was. Good job. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. We'll go ahead and do it to the left. Sorry, we'll go ahead and push the hip to the right. All right, we'll go ahead and step off to the right and do the same thing. I just stepped on him today. I didn't really warm him up, so he's a little bit flaky. And I'm just wanting him to get really relaxed and soft in the top line. There we go. He's not being very accountable right now. And I'm just asking him to step up to the plate a little bit more before I start working on the hip control. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask the hip to step up there. There we go. Stepped up just fine. No lack of impulsion. Do it one more time. There we go. That was absolutely beautiful. Bring him down. Good job. I'll just gently walk him out here. So now that I feel that we have that in place, the shoulder's cleared nicely, his hip is stepping over, he's driving with impulsion, we'll go ahead and ask him for a lead change and see how he does. Now, once you get into the lead change, often they can get really relaxed when you're just loping around on the natural lead for that direction. But sometimes once they anticipate that lead change and they know what's coming, that can cause them to tighten up a lot more, and they quit driving, they quit moving their hip over like you'd like them to. And so at that point, you may have to go back and work on this exercise until they're fluid and comfortable once again. Well, and make sure that shoulder's clear. You want to make sure all the other components of your lead change are correct. Everything's going well. That horse is stood up. He's not bracing against your hands or legs. And he's moving pretty slow right now. I need to speed him up just a little bit. So naturally get him driving a little bit faster. And I don't really worry about what the face is doing at this point, as long as the shoulder's staying clear and he's not bracing against my hands. All right, I'm going to step him up here. Ask for the lead change to happen. There we go. Good job. Good. Bring him back down. Very nice. Good job. All right, so we're gonna leave him alone there. That wasn't a flawless lead change. I'm pretty sure it was a couple strides late in the back. But what I really liked about it was the fact that he did step up and threw himself. And like I mentioned earlier, that was one of this horse's main issues, was that he wanted to kind of ball up and just kind of step the hip over. He'd get really short and choppy in the stride in the back instead of freeing up and moving through himself. And again, you don't want a horse that braces or gets tight and just runs off. We addressed that in the previous video, and I'll put the link to that in the comments. But you really need one that's free and relaxed and moving through himself. So don't drill on the lead change. For me, I don't do too many every day, or whenever I go to work on my lead changes, I just work on all the components of the lead change and then I put them together at the end. Because what I want to do, my number one goal in my program is to keep the horse as mentally relaxed as possible so he doesn't overthink this stuff. And I've made countless mistakes in the past, and I probably still make mistakes that I'll look back on in 10 years and say, you know what, I'm going to do that differently. But one of the main mistakes I would make is that I wouldn't get the lead change perfect, and so I'd work and work and work on the lead change, which just made my horses overthink the project so much more than if you go out there and maybe just play with the hip and you're on the correct lead and on on the lead going the direction you're asking to go, and you're just pushing that hip around, and they just get really relaxed, just realizing how to drive through and move with the hip, drive through and the hip, drive through and the hip. Then you're picking up the shoulders, and you're getting them really free in the shoulders, and you work on all the components that make a lead change but don't actually drill the lead change. And then when I do go out there to do the lead change, it just all falls together like that. The horse never has to overthink it. It happens before he even knows it, and then I'll just go back to working on those other things, and the horse never has time to anticipate or build so much anxiety about it. So I'm not saying you won't go through bad spells. Working on lead changes, it's one of those maneuvers that kind of has a tendency to be, you know, you're going to run into rough patches here and there. But keep your horse as relaxed as possible, work on the components, put it together at the end, and this is going to go so much better for you than if you try to spend so much time drilling on the lead change itself. Anyway, guys, I hope this video helps, and we'll see you in the next one.